Thank you all for joining us. My name is Jim Wise. I will be sitting in for Andy Buck, the chairman. This is the Facilities and Property Management Committee, March 22nd, 2023. Need a motion for the approval of the minutes for February 22nd.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from February the 22nd.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes. First one. Anybody have anything for that? Nothing, hearing nothing. Public input, is there anybody? No, there's no public here. Is there anybody?
I'm Alan Acuna, Steve Binder, Winnebago County citizen.
Just asked it a couple times.
Is there anybody? Okay, thank you. All right, discussion on facilities naming policy. You'd like to?
Well, there was a request. Well, we did a naming of the administration building. And then there was a request to name the conference room, room 120 at the Otter Street building. And when I talked to Andy about putting that on the agenda, he had thought that we should probably have a policy about naming facilities or rooms or anything before we just go ahead and do that. So he wanted to bring it forward before the committee to ask what your thoughts or what we should do. Actually 20 years ago, I had started with a naming policy. I don't know if you guys want to take a look at it. And it was just something to get going, and it was not something that the committee or the county executive at the time really wanted to get involved with, because we weren't really naming anything. But this is just an opening for a discussion.
Remember at the meeting that we talked about the David Albrecht building, I said I definitely support it because I believe it should be. But I also asked that we do study on this, because at one time, you know, I didn't know that sewer building or conference room would be brought up, but I figured that some other things would be brought up. Yeah, for some that weren't elected on before, like the airport terminal that they wanted to name after the previous county executive, and that got voted down. And how embarrassing is that? And I called David Albrecht to make sure that he wanted to have that building name, because that could have happened there, and that would have been really embarrassing. So I said to Andy Buck, I said, well, maybe we should have at least something on file, so it goes, you know, it could still get voted down one way or the other, up or down, but something should be on file that we can't just go and name something after Bill Blow because he's a great person down the road or whatever. He might not have had anything to do with the county or whatever we're still gonna call it, but we've got the Orange King building, we've got the Jimmy Godwin building, we've got actually
The Orange King building, the Coughlin building, now we've got the Dave Albrecht building. We've got the Rick Meyer room at the Sheriff's Department. There's a number of different places that people have wanted to honor somebody by naming something after them. You know, and it would be probably a wise thing to do to go out and have a policy for it, just so that you know, if you look in the news right now, there's an awful lot of problems with facilities and things that have been named after people, because they find out that there is something that they've done or something else that now they're taking names off of buildings. So you might want to just make sure that we have some kind of ground rules on what qualifies a person to be named, for have a building named for them. When I did this, I had gone out and I looked at different naming policies that are out there by different institutions, And, I kind of put them all together, just, to put them in one place. But I started doing the search again, over the last month, and, I didn't really have a good luck to find the ones that I had looked at in the past, and I didn't download those at the time, so. I can keep looking and getting you more information. But, being as how as it would be a policy, it would be something that would go through the county board. And, I asked around a little bit, it's like, how do we memorialize the policy? Does it go into the ordinances, or is it just a resolution, or what have you? So I haven't got any good information to give you on that yet, but that's what I'm looking at. Because, like, if I would write up a policy and the county executive approves it, that's kind of an administrative thing, but we don't do policy. You guys do policy.
Well, I think you have a pretty good, initial step here, if that's what this is.
Yeah, because this one here looks.
Just a quick look at it.
Does this also affect parks also?
It would affect, yeah, and that's where I put something in there that it would not affect facilities that we sell the naming rights to.
I thought the city of Oshkosh named parks, or no? We do?
Well, we have like the Expo Center and
Okay.
the boat landings. They're considered parks because they belong to the Parks Department. And we've got the park there on Y. Most of the other parks we've transferred over to the municipalities that they're in. But that doesn't mean that we won't create a park in the future.
What's the name of the one down on Solid Waste by Solid Waste?
The Kenny Roble Park, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you got the Paul Stevens and all there, whatever, going in.
Oh, yeah, into the Expo
Into
Center.
the Expo Center.
Okay, just as long as we're covering
Yeah,
everybody who has.
I mean, this here is a start of it.
Yeah,
right?
good start.
yeah, if you want to take that home and look at it,
Good first
I in
step.
no way am trying to say that should be the policy.
No, I would just thinking that something,
It's already-
or if something comes up again, and all of a sudden we have somebody that, what qualifications does this person have or whatever.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna come back to this group to begin with,
You certainly put this in front of the board and let them hash it out.
Well, let's do it one more here.
Yeah, here.
So it goes through this
Yeah,
here first.
Here first.
Take a look at it, think about it over the month.
Yeah,
And we'll put it on the agenda for next month.
okay.
I apologize. I couldn't find it in my records in time to get it out in the mail to you all.
Okay.
Um,
We would still just be discussing it.
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you. Okay, discussion of responsible bidders, contractors, and county role.
I've done some more exploration on it, and there is, I think I brought this up last month. There is a way that contractors are graded on their workman's comp performance. And once again, I found something from like the Corps of Engineers on how they grade their contractors. They have a policy on that. And I have since misplaced it. It's out there in the web somewhere, but basically, your workman's comp can be an indication of how good or what kind of quality you do. If you're an unsafe contractor, the chances are you're probably cutting corners and you're unsafe in how you're going to be doing the work. You may have an unsafe workplace or work environment that could affect our employees' safety when they're doing things. So the average of your workman's comp score is a 1. And like the Corps of Engineers has it that you're a disqualified contractor if your workman's comp ratio is a 1.25. So, I want to do a little bit more looking on that, but I think we could incorporate that into our specifications that your workman's comp performance ratio has to be below, if 1 is an average, I don't think we can say below 1 because that would cut out a lot of people. But, maybe follow with the Corps of Engineers practice of saying you have to be below a 1.25. And then they would have to submit that with their bids, or they just look at it and say, well, hey, the state's telling me I'm a 1.3, so I'm not even qualified to bid.
Mhm.
And that might help us get more quality contractors.
I think it'd be good.
Yeah, I do too. That's a great idea because it seems that we're running into the wall with these guys and
Yeah.
then getting good quality work.
Well, when we come down to the next one, I'll tell you the wall I'm running into.
Okay. So we're going to put this on for next month also.
Yeah.
then.
So hopefully, I can find that document again
Okay.
and share it with you, and then talk to purchasing and get that rolled into our qualification statement.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so discussion and approval of budget transfer $48,000 for additional funding for Oshkosh Human Services Building Elevator Modernization.
This one is, we got a quote from Kone Elevator. They are the elevator company that is doing our elevator maintenance now. And their quote was for about $136,000. And there is building modifications that need to be done with it. And it's not something I can handle right now in-house. And it also causes some coordination efforts when we have a contractor working and we're responsible for stuff. It starts becoming who's responsible for what. And it works better. And there's some language in the state public works ordinance that basically says I'm not supposed to split up public works projects to cut costs or things like that. It's like the whole project, if it's over $100,000, is a public works project, and that it has to go out for bid. So we went out for bid, and here's the brick wall I'm running up against. It went out, and 208 bidders were notified of it. They got emailed a copy of the bid package. That included 9 elevator companies, which are all the major companies and a few of the local smaller companies that do elevators. And I know there were specifically 10 contractors in the area that were sent the bid package. We got one bidder.
Really?
And it was Capelli Brothers. And they came in $48,000 over what we had estimated the project was going to be. I talked to him, and the bid that he got from Kone was the difference in what our estimated costs were going to be. So Kone gave us an estimate of $136,000. They got a quote from them for $175,000. So I don't know why Kone gave them that bid, but that's the bid that they gave to Capelli. And when we talked to Capelli, the other side of the equation is, he said, this is the last job we're bidding for this year because we're booked out till 2024. So I've started now asking how many people are getting these bids from us. There is another one for doing our 980 building. 531 people were notified of our project, and 2 people submitted bids. So, there have been comments when I come up and talk about bidding projects. Do we get, where do the estimates come from? Here we had a proposal from Kone Elevator that I could have signed and sent back to Kone, and we'd have been billed $135,000 for the job, but we would have had to try and get the other work done somehow. But when they gave the bid to the contractor, when we went out for the general to do it all, it was significantly higher. I don't have a good answer for you on why they did that. It's, I don't know. But, there was another one, I think, I forget which one it was, but we ended up sending it out to like 800 people. And we're getting just a handful of people returning bids. Why that's happening? I have no idea. I don't know if there's just that much work out in the marketplace, and these people have got the same labor issues that we have. But we are doing our due diligence to try and get better pricing and solicit more bids than we can.
So what we're saying here is that this is gonna put a delay on the project.
Well, a little bit. I need $48,000 more, so it's gotta go before you guys, it's gotta go before PNF, and now it's gotta go before the county board in April. So, I've talked to the contractor, and
So,
he's aware of it.
so how long is this bid good for?
90 days. So we've got enough time to get it through you guys. But
Why
that's,
why wouldn't Kone, take this job at that 130?
they won't do the building changes. So like, there's electrical work that needs to be done, and some HVAC work, and some building structural work that needs to be done.
They just want to do the
They
elevator.
just want to do the elevator controls.
Would they act as a general for the building?
Nope. Nope.
Cause that might be one reason why. If they wanted to do that. One reason why.
No.
That's probably what they're doing. They just got the elevator. And he's probably gonna put in the elevator.
Oh, yeah. So he's gonna do all the elevator work for Capelli.
Yeah.
But Capelli is carrying the project, performance bond,
Oh, I see what.
and
doing.
they're doing,
I see what they're doing. So basically speaking, that extra $45,000 is technically for the building part of it.
no,
No,
no, the extra $45,000 is over and above. It's all just Kone.
holy mackerel.
So it's like, you know,
That takes 22.
yeah, and that's, you know, like Otis elevator, Braun elevator, I've got the whole list of them here, but I can't, it's gonna be.
So if they're not going to do any of the work or whatever,
Capelli will be doing the electrical work, they're gonna do the HVAC work, and they're gonna do the changing out the doors and some of
Okay.
the building structural work.
so that would be included that.
Oh, yeah,
extra
that's all.
48,000.
No. Capelli's bid was $252,800, and we had $230,000 approved.
Okay.
So Kone's estimate or cost proposal to Capelli was about $45,000 more than what I had gotten a quote from Kone
For just the elevator.
for just the elevator.
Why?
Why?
Did they tell you?
No,
They don't have to tell you.
they don't have to tell you on a sealed bid.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know.
Time between the first bid and this bid, how much time?
2 months,
Ah,
you know. The time between it was the time that we had when we got the quote from them, and it's $135,000. We gotta go out for bid. You know, in 6 weeks to get the bid documents done. And then we went out for bid.
Plus, all the equipment and everything that they need, are they gonna have a hard time getting it?
No, this is non-proprietary stuff. It
Okay.
should be somewhat readily available to them.
Okay.
well, the generator for the expo center was 8.44% higher. Now than it was at budget time.
At budget time, that what came in as an amendment, and they didn't really talk to either Eric or I on what the dollar amount was going to be.
So that wasn't necessarily market related.
No. No, because it originally came in at $800,000, and then it's like, that's not the cost that we come up with. That was a cost that the individual who brought the amendment in said, let's put it, you know.
Well, I think our chairman brought the amendment in, but he had that figure from someplace. I don't think he grabbed it out of the air.
I thought it was Paul Eisen brought it in.
No, I don't think
No?
so. I thought our chairman brought that one up. Maybe Paul did, I'm not sure, but can't believe, whatever, it's over and done with.
Yeah.
But someplace at 800,000 had to come in, so, but whoever brought it in.
Well, I think we gotta move on this thing.
Yeah,
I mean, ASAP, because, we can't afford to, let this double in price or even add even another 45,000.
Is it human resources or human services?
human services.
So that's the other thing, I mean, that's health care, right?
Yeah, we've got the veterans on the third floor, the ADRC on the third floor. And right now they're making accommodations for the people that need to get up there.
Yeah, they just gotta go up to the desk and then they'll let them through the hallway and go over to the other elevator.
Oh, okay. So we can walk.
That's 150 years old.
So we're asking for 48,000
Yes.
additional funding.
Correct.
Okay, what does that make it? How much is it then? So
It'd be 278, I think.
278 versus what, 230?
Correct. And that gives us a contingency to, in case we start doing something and they find out something else is broke.
I have no problems with these contingencies, but sometimes when, I'm not just saying you, but these contingencies, when we put them in, they don't always seem to go back. They seem like we're building offices or something else some other place, and I don't think that's right.
It's not right, but I can tell you, as your department head here, we don't, it's assigned to this project and, like I just worked with Carol on the courthouse tuck pointing job. That came in $206,000 under budget. We just put that back into, the whatever fund goes for capital projects. So it's like nothing extra was done with that overage. And we do that with all of our projects. If, if some other departments redirect it to another project, it should have to come before you guys,
Right.
to do this.
Which it always don't, but that's what I wanted to bring up.
No, so, whatever contingency we have left, when we close out the project with Carol down in finance, it goes back.
I don't know anything about this. So is there anything in ARPA?
Well, this is what I was going to
Consideration.
say, that I think that we should go ahead and move forward, like Mike had said, motion get it on the floor and then that we see if ARPA would pick it up. This is an ideal spot that ARPA would be putting some money into it, is help and all this and that, and this is where I think they should. I can't promise, but I think this is something the commission should take a look at, but it just be replaced back in. I think we should go now, get this on the floor, so Mike can go ahead and get this project going.
Okay,
Because here again, ARPA's got to have their meeting, then it goes to the board, and sometimes it takes a while by the time it all goes through.
so is this going to be just an addition of 48,000?
Correct.
Or is it, okay? Because
It
we've
would
already
just be an
approved
addition
some
of
of that.
48,000.
Everything else is already,
Okay.
yeah, they already got the banana runs.
I'll make a motion for the approval of an additional $48,000 for the elevator for the Oshkosh Human Resources building for overage.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
All right,
I-
Opposed? Same sign. Thank you.
the funds formerly known as ARPA and now Spirit.
Sure.
Yes, yes.
Spirit funds now. Let us not forget.
Mhm.
I think in that respect too, there was a little bit of confusion on that whole thing.
Okay,
Yeah, true.
next item is the discussion on the building assessment study.
We had 10 firms submit proposals. And like I said last night, it got whittled down to 3. We interviewed the 3 people, or the 3 firms, and we made a selection of the one that gives us the best value. The company is called McKinstry. It's out of Well, it's a nationwide company. They've got offices in Milwaukee and Madison. Those will be the individuals that work on our buildings. And they have done hundreds of facility condition assessments all over the country. They have recently done the General Mitchell Field condition assessment. I believe they are working with Oshkosh School District right now. That was not something we knew before we went into this. But they have a significant amount of experience in this. There were two other companies. Another company, Cross Anderson, was a very close second. But one of the things that sold us with McKinstry was included in their cost and everything is an energy audit of our buildings. So it seemed like we were getting a better value for them. And they also have a service that we can subscribe to for probably like a nominal cost, that they will work with us on a yearly basis to keep up our capital plan and our estimates, and review our stuff so that we don't have to do this like every 5 years. So that should give us a living document and help, so that when it comes time for the capital projects, we'll have somebody that will say, this is what we think the cost is going to be currently. Not that we do this study, we come up with a cost, and then I have to apply what I think our inflation factor for the next 5 years. They will review it and help us keep up our database with the condition of our buildings.
What's the name of that company again?
It's called McKinstry.
That's a nice service. We'll appreciate that.
I think that's gonna, the second place company didn't provide the follow-on service for us. They would allow us to keep our database on their web, I think. The third place company that we interviewed basically would do the facility condition assessment, and then pretty much we're on our own after that. We'd have a database that we would have to try and keep up ourselves. Replacement costs that we would have to project out on ourselves. They didn't have an energy audit. So when it all comes down to it, McKinstry seemed to be the best value that we had.
What was the cost on there?
The cost was, I believe, $277,000.
Were they in the middle? I remember.
They were pretty much right in the middle.
The three.
Yeah. And the third company that we interviewed was actually the lowest cost one. But when we went through everything, it's like, okay, we understand why you're, $75,000 to $100,000 less than the others, is because we're not getting the energy audit, we're not getting a database that you're going to help us with.
And they're not gonna charge you for those updates?
Yeah, we'll have to, it's gonna be a nominal cost for their services on a yearly basis. But I'd have to do that anyhow if I had my own database.
Yeah.
I'd have to have it reviewed by somebody. I should have it reviewed by somebody down the road.
Who did the interviewing, if I may ask?
It was myself, it was the county executive, and Andy was on with us. And I had talked to Andy before we made the award, and he was satisfied with the company also.
But he wasn't in there when you're talking about him. Was Andy in the building when you're talking about him, or?
No, we did, because of the snowstorm, we did it all by Zoom. McKinstry actually had some people that made the trip here. And Cross Anderson had somebody here. The third company, Bureau Veritas, did not have somebody here. They were in Maryland. So no, Bureau Veritas did have somebody that made it here.
Did you ever answer that one company that wanted to know why they didn't get awarded?
Yes.
They did?
Yeah. We provided information for them.
Thank you.
Mike, who's going to be doing the actual inspections? Not who, but what is the background of the person who's going to be doing it? Are they a PE or?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
They are well versed in it. The discussion I had with some of them was, I'm an engineer, I'm a graduate engineer. But I can't qualify for a PE because I've not done design work. But I've done 40 years of repair work, fixing things that PEs have designed.
Okay.
So, yes, these guys are PEs.
They're gonna put their stamp on it.
They can put their stamp on it, but I probably ruffle a lot of feathers when I say, I've met a lot of guys who are PEs who are really book smart, but they're not,
Mhm. Yeah.
Construction.
they're not operationally smart.
All right.
But the two individuals we've got, Tim McAvoy, I think, is going to be the project manager. He's a PE, he's done quite a few of these. And I cannot remember the other individual, I think it's Tyler. Is another individual that will be there, and they will be reviewing our drawings and then going out and looking at all of the different buildings. And we will end up having to put some people with them to go with them and escort them and help them get into places. And all the other departments have been notified. I will let them know when their buildings are scheduled. And hopefully we will have a pretty good snapshot of where our buildings are, and that the report card won't make it look like I haven't done anything for 25 years.
Well, that's important.
Already then.
So is there anything that we need to do here today, or is this it
No,
at this point? Okay.
no.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, so you have done a lot.
We just did
Hey,
this.
Mike, I just wanted to let you know that I am on the line. This is Sam from McKinstry. Just wanted to be available if anyone had any questions.
Right.
And thank you all for your consideration. And just so you know, those three years worth of updates were included in our price. So there is no additional cost for 3 years to maintain that dashboard that we talked about, and we will
Oh, okay.
stamp.
Thanks, Sam.
Of course, and we will stamp our assessment for you with our Wisconsin engineering seal at no additional cost.
Oh, that's all.
That's good.
We look forward to meeting you all. Thank you all for your consideration and hard work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's move on to is there anything else to discuss on this assessment study? Okay, hearing nothing, the 980 housing project.
The 980 housing project came in higher than we expected all. Here again, we set this out to 531 firms. And 2 people came back with it.
Incredible. Man.
I've started to include this because it's, when I come before the county board and it's like, well, you only got one, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's not for lack of trying.
Yeah. Mhm.
These were advertised, and then 531 firms were actually emailed
Mhm.
the bids. And two contractors came back with it, and it is higher than what we had estimated. So we are working with the contractors. We will probably end up cutting off 2 to 3 units to build what we need to have without coming back to the county board for additional money.
So how many are we gonna build and how much is the price now?
The price right now would be, $1,397,000 for 6 of them.
How much more is that than than the original?
A lot.
$400,000.
Okay, but remember, with the rent we're getting in those units, capitalized rent, I mean, that more than justifies the cost.
As long as they're occupied.
As long as they're occupied,
Occupied by the state
yeah,
paying.
right now, we know we have to have 3. So we are working with the contractor. It looks like we're gonna cut off 3 of them. So we will build 3, but we'll still leave the trailer there, so that will give us 5 spaces. And then see where we are from there.
But if we need 3 right now. I mean, do we have 3 occupants now?
We have 2 occupants. One is he has been delayed about a year for us, waiting on trying to find a place for him to go. We haven't been able to find a suitable place. And basically, it's coming down to, we need to build these things.
Are you sure you don't wanna build them all, just come back to us for the funds, because I mean, I think I could put up a pretty good argument. I don't know, I wouldn't wait, it's gonna cost more to do them later.
I agree with that, but what do you think?
I do.
You guys both got votes to this.
I would, you got more and more people.
I mean,
saying,
It just seems like that if we don't go ahead and get the extra funds or whatever, then this 400,000 can turn into 800,000.
I would do it. You got the approval for all of them, do it.
I will pass that on to the county executive. He would be the one that makes the decision that we come back to you all for more money. He was not comfortable doing that.
Okay, but I just think. Yeah.
Because
we got
to
inflation
me,
right now.
you should at least do, because we were gonna do 6, right?
Right.
So at least do 4. I mean,
What happens if suddenly there's public opposition or something and then you can't do it? It's really, you know,
Well,
I would do
it's
it.
already zoned for what it is. We've
Yeah,
already got
that's
the
true.
approval for it.
It's true, but
So, and I don't think
but we don't
anybody's
have
got
money
any
either.
public opposition for us to put them there. Where we've gotten the public opposition from is when we want to put them into the rural areas or other areas of the city.
given all that, I would just build all of them. Just come back and get the money and build them all.
Might have a new mayor then that changed the vote.
Yes. You never know.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
Do it.
This
Do
is
it
a-
now.
this is kind of like the,
I will pass that on to the county executive. And see what he says.
Mhm.
well, he could be at our next meeting too.
I thought we were gonna pull that trailer out of there.
We can build 3 of them in the space between the western border and where the trailer is. We know we're gonna need more.
Right.
But we could have, if we build the 3 and leave the trailer there, we got space for 5.
Economies of scale too, I would just do them all. It's
A question for you,
Too good.
is there, this was kind of thrown on us 4
Yeah.
years ago. And at that time, Madison was not really sure that this is the way they wanted to go on that. Is there any chance that this will be rescinded and something else will go in its place, or is that?
You talking about the 980 requirement?
Yes, the 980.
As far as we can tell, there's no political will to change the boundaries or anything else. There has been action on, from some municipalities on it. And I know we talked at one of the legislative bureau, meetings, about how restrictive this is and how troublesome it is. And there hasn't, we're not the only county that's hitting up Madison saying this is too hard to
Too
do.
restrictive.
And there's really no movement in Madison to change it.
Okay, that's all I was concerned about.
And what's really interesting is we're getting more and more counties checking with us on how we did this.
Mhm.
You know, like right now, we had Washington County was looking to probably buy our trailer from us.
Oh.
And another county was looking for a trailer. It might have been Fond du Lac County. But it's interesting in that Door County is putting it out by their highway shop, which is similar to what we're doing. I think Rock County was doing the same thing. So it seems like since other counties are finding ways to do it like we are, that there's less incentive for Madison to change it.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not that they would, but it's.
Yeah.
This trailer that, I mean, the building that we have out there now, is that sellable, you say?
Should be, it's only 4 years
Yeah.
old.
I mean, you know, so how much are we gonna recoup from that? Do you think?
it's a good point. At today's price, maybe more than,
It could be more than what we paid for it.
yeah,
So
which would be how much?
we paid $43,000 for it. The next one that when we went out to get bids for the trailers, there was this one for $43,000. The next one was $110,000.
Holy mackerel.
Okay, well, that drops the cost a little bit, maybe we can recover something from the trailer, right?
Well,
The
yeah,
additional.
a little bit.
I mean, I just think this approval process was so tough, you should just build all the units.
Well, I guess that's up to the
It's
executive.
not, it's not up to Mike though,
I
it's,
will pass that.
we can't really do anything out, we can't do anything on the board here, on the board.
I'm just.
And the board-
giving you advice.
Actually, not on the board level, but I,
No, we can't because it's just discussion today. Otherwise, it would have been for possible action when we could make a motion, but go ahead and do it. But it's just discussion today.
I'm just giving an opinion, that's all.
Okay.
I will pass that opinion on to the county executive. And then we could make it an action item for next month. You know, because and I'll talk to him.
And the money let's sit in the general fund is losing value every day due to inflation. So get the money in hard assets, that's what we're trying to say. You know, and it's an inflation protection hedge. If you're gonna do construction, do it now rather than later on.
Okay, you're gonna pass that on to.
I will pass
That's
that
good
on.
investment, good investment.
And if something ever did happen, it was brought up and the county executive was all for it, that, if something did happen that we didn't have any 980s,
Mhm.
it could be made into veteran housing.
Oh, okay, all right, so we
Yeah.
can go back to her on this.
Well, to be truthful, we have people lined up that would want to rent the space. The city of Oshkosh has a problem with non-980 sex offenders in that they all live at the town motel. And
Would they pay us rent too?
somebody would pay us rent to be there. We wouldn't probably get the same rent as the 980s,
no,
but,
not the Belleville Motel.
you know, it's like, there's other people that have concerns about. Because talking to OPD, the sex offenders get bounced out of town motel, and now they become homeless and they're on their own, and there's other issues that are created because they don't have a place to live.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I will pass that opinion on
thank
to
you.
and suggestion on to the county executive.
All right, discussion on the shelter care project.
We are moving forward on getting the stuff taken care of. We've gotten a quote from the architect to do his work. We've got to get the contracts out to him, and then we'll get that process going for the work. We've been doing some minor repairs to it, and it's been operating fine right now. We do have an issue where another building that is a shelter care type issue is being sold out from under us again. And it's another mandated service, And Bill Topol and I are exploring how he's going to manage the service he sees required to have. And this would be for like a longer term care for older boys to teens. And it would be like 6 months to 2 years that they are in our care. So that was just something that just came up. And we're kind of scrambling on what we're gonna do with that. And this building was owned by the Winnebago County Housing Authority, and I'm not sure why they want to get rid of it, but it's a building that they own, and then human services contracts with another firm to actually manage it for them.
You're not talking about the existing building that they're selling, you're talking about another building?
No, the existing building where it's Silvercrest Care runs it,
Okay,
is being sold.
that's what you're talking.
So we are exploring the different possibilities that we've got with that. So there may be another project coming forward before the county board in the very near future.
Did you look at it?
No, that's this afternoon.
So the architect it's in the hands of the architect right now to.
Yeah,
do
we're
what?
working on that to put the elevator in, get the roof replaced, get the siding replaced, put an ADA ramp on the front, probably fix the front entrance. And get that going.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Boathouse.
Still a disaster.
It's still a disaster. Last Thursday afternoon, we got word back. We've been working with solid waste on where we can get rid of this stuff. We've been working with Land and Water. I know Steve Binder said that there's a dome that was built by Highways for hazardous waste or hazardous material. I've talked to Land and Water and Highways. It really wasn't built for what kind of waste or spoils we've got. And it's about 100 feet from wetlands. So that's probably not something that the DNR would approve. But Thursday, we sent the latest soil samples to solid waste. It went to Allegheny County. We had thought we could get it to Allegheny County. Thank you. Thursday afternoon, it was, you might have to take this to a hazardous waste landfill, which would probably be Portland. Friday morning, it came back. Well, no, we could probably take it here yet, but you'll have to do this permitting process. But it still has to come to us dry. And the process, the problem that we've got is the soil is laden with, it's called polyaromatics and arsenic. And any place that I put, the question that nobody's given us the answer for is if I put it someplace, like if I put it on our parking lot to dry, does the water carry the arsenic into the soil there so that when I get rid of the dirt and take it to the landfill, now I've got arsenic here, which really has just moved one problem to another place. And it's not something I think we should do. So it's like, I need to find a place where it can kind of go wet and would be encapsulated. I'm working with John Raby. There, if you drive down Highway Y across from the gas flare powers, there's a borrow pit that they had for clay. And it's kind of got natural berms around it. We could probably block off the outfall from it and place it there. And I've talked to John, and he said a future project for them to reclaim the land would be to build a new transfer station, which would maybe put the contaminated soil underneath a parking lot or something that would be totally encapsulated and not bothered in the future. So
That's a really good idea.
Would Berlin take the soil wet?
We haven't explored that yet because Allegheny County came back to, they'll take it, but it'll be dry. If it goes to Berlin, I don't know what the
How
costs are for
much,
that.
yeah, how much more of a cost would it be though to take it? Because they take contaminated waste,
Yeah,
so
so,
the cost may be more.
so it's like, if
So
our
how,
solid waste department would work with us on the fees. So I think it would be cheaper, I know it would be cheaper than us having to take it to a hazardous waste landfill. So
so,
these are all the questions that we're trying to work our way through.
Are we far enough along on this project where we could just back away from it?
That's above my pay grade.
Ooh.
Okay, what is your thought on it then, let's put it that way?
My thought on it is, yes, this is such a mess. We should probably back away from it. I'd love to turn off the recording. I owned a boat for 10 years. I backed it down a ramp. You know, we could work out a deal at the Pioneer and have it parked there forever. I don't know, you know, and that's where I say it's above my pay grade because it deals with the operations of another department. And I understand he wants a boathouse that's enclosed so that if they pull a body out of the water, it can be taken care of out of the public's eye. And he's also concerned about all of the equipment that he'd have on the boat if it's not parked in a closed boathouse, that people could hop onto it and either damage it or
Oh,
steal
they
it.
will too, believe me.
Are you in the construction process right?
No, I have
No,
not
you
turned on,
can't do anything.
the problem that I have is you all have authorized me to spend money, but I can't start a project and commit to spending more money until I have your approval to do more money. And I don't know what the total dollar amount is yet because we haven't figured out what the dewatering costs are gonna be and what the disposal fees are gonna be.
So what is the total waste? Because, I mean, this could be never ending.
Radke's is estimating between 300 and 350 cubic yards of soil, and it's all contaminated. So, you know, to me, I think that is an excessive amount, but I don't do dredging work like that. But I mean, you know, how much is a basement for a house? That's basically what we're kind of excavating.
Why do they have to dig all that out? Anyway,
Because it needs to be deeper for the boat and the boat lift to work.
You might have to go around it though too, so they don't have. it.
Yeah. They're gonna have to excavate the banks back a little bit.
Because, well, my way of thinking too, you know, you gotta dig this hole, but why can't it be, I mean, cement? The cement would keep the soil out.
Yeah, the cement would cost more. But we've done some removals of the piers and everything there that were in bad shape. But we have not done anything more really.
how long is Radke's been hold for?
They're holding their prices, but I don't know if it's Capelli or Cardinal is saying that the price of the building is going up $6,000.
Well, of course,
That's not a tremendous
That's-
amount.
yeah, but still,
But it's more money than what we've got.
I would call Berlin and see if they'd take it. As is. Right now,
I can call them. Sure.
see what it costs and just get it, if you could get rid of it quick, just do it and move on, you know. What you think? Rather than
I
try to mess
I
around.
think that we've got way too much money. in
Well, of
this
course,
already.
of
Way
course.
too much. I just,
Well, yeah,
that's my thought.
But now,
and
I don't know how
there's
that
no other place that we can go with
contaminated
that.
soil removal and disposal was not included in the bid,
not contaminated, no.
non-contaminated was.
Yes. Because you had a farm field eco spread it on.
So the different, okay, So
Gotcha. Okay.
what do you think it would cost?
Right.
If
If we have to dry it, then we've already got a double handling charge of like $13,000.
we don't have to dry it, they'll just take it.
I don't know if they will. I don't know what that costs.
They have a bent, that entire landfill is bentonite lined over there,
Yeah,
you know that.
but I do know, talking with the DNR, we have to get the final location approved and a permit for. I don't know if the permit that they want us to get is over and above what would be accepted at Berlin.
Okay.
So we still have hoops we have to jump through to figure out. And we're still really close with the budget money. Because Radke's is saying that the design of the pilings wasn't sufficient, so we need additional pilings. And there was one other thing. We need to have a different treated type wood. So we're talking about another, $20,000 for Radke.
Remember, if you don't do this, you don't do it, you're not gonna find another boathouse probably ever do it,
Not a wet one.
no. So this is a unique situation in a way, in that sense. You know what I mean? Because you can't build boathouses anywhere you want, you have to find an existing one to rehab it. And the reason that DNR allowed this, I think, is.
Well,
Can I
it's
speak
probably
to
because
that?
of Winnebago County Sheriff,
What's that?
Well, because they don't have to patrol the lake system.
yeah.
So, but this will be a cheap, I shouldn't say a cheap one, awfully expensive lesson for us to learn. Maybe we should have been checking that before.
Of course. And I was new to the, new to the chair. I'm not a chair, but I mean, the chair I sit in. But the other thing you have to consider is, one of the reasons why we approved this was if someone was injured out in that water and we didn't get to them as quickly as we could have, because we could have had a boathouse there, a good attorney
Did us for a
or the
long
victim could come in and hammer us on that.
And I realize that, if that was my child and something out there, I definitely want them there. But we can get sued for so many things.
Yeah,
too.
but-
What if the boat don't start when
Well,
you get there?
I'm
Oh,
just,
yeah, I'll
I'm
just
just
throw
saying,
out there, the ice boats aren't kept in a boathouse.
Yeah, that, most of the little one, they had a problem out there, ours from, Armo come out there.
okay, well, 500,000 versus 20 million, I don't know, whatever lawsuits are for wrongful death on a county. I mean, that's something, I'm just saying.
Right, I won't argue that point with you, but I just think we're way overhead on that.
I know that.
So what happens if we don't go? I mean, because where we're gonna put this? Oh,
Well, it's been out for 2 years already or whatever,
We're not,
it's still going.
and that boat patrols the whole lake too, the way they described it. I mean, they aren't doing just Oshkosh and Winnebago County, they're taking calls from other counties too, I think.
I don't think other counties, I think.
I don't think it leaves Winnebago too much, because they can't get underneath the bridge.
No, I mean on Lake Winnebago.
Oh, yeah.
Right, it does all the lakes
Yeah,
along there and possibly the Fox and the Wolf and up and that, but.
yeah.
So, that's just my thought.
Okay, well, maybe we should, I don't know, could we call Berlin and just see what it would cost?
We'll call Berlin
And see if they'll dispose of it what, and then otherwise, your plan of.
well, the other plan is take it over
Yeah,
there
yeah.
and then it can be buried underneath the
Well,
Right,
asphalt.
possibly,
but that's gonna
we
take.
gotta find out, wherever it goes to be dewatered has to be approved by the DNR.
That's gonna take a lot longer, so.
And it's gonna take us 2 months to get the permit.
Okay, so.
Yeah, you're.
So-
The summer's gone.
Yeah,
It's gonna be get this.
So that's what I'm saying, if
Well,
we
that's-
just get rid of it,
What, 2 or 3?
it's not gonna cost that much, just.
Actually, 3. No, this would be the third.
Do you have any room here on the money? How much can we spend on soil disposal?
Nothing,
No, we have to come back to the board for more money for that?
probably. And
No, that's not.
both the sheriff and the county executive do not want to come back to the board.
No, I wouldn't do that.
See, the sheriff don't want to,
Yeah, then,
Why is that?
yeah, then I wouldn't do it.
they don't want to come back to the county board for more money.
Okay. So you're going to do.
So what would be our alternatives if we don't build this back? We gotta answer that because we gotta do some, I mean, if it's right now operational without a boathouse. Who guards that boat 24/7? Because that's a boat that
Yeah.
obviously you can't let it get
It's gonna be vandalized.
vandalized or
Expensive
anything
equipment.
else.
You don't want it sitting in the water because it's gonna, it's an expensive boat. You don't want it sitting in the water all day, all night, right?
No,
Say there's a spot they could rent,
Yeah, the Pioneer.
right here.
I mean, there's.
That's what I'm saying, but that's in the water though, right? That's,
Yeah,
so the boat sits in the water all the time.
so do the 100 boats that rent slipped at Pioneer.
I know, okay, I know, but,
Even
if
if
he asks
it's
the sheriff whether he wants his.
No, you take it out and you trailer it and you park it where it's been parked
Oh.
the last 2 winters,
I mean,
you know.
Does the
And
sheriff's
those people don't want it to sit in the water, well, you pull it once a month and you wash the hull.
is that
Yeah.
a safe place? I mean, is it, gated off or?
I haven't been there because I don't
I
rent a
wouldn't
slip.
bet on that.
But I would imagine that people have sailboats and they have power boats that stay in the water. And there are people in marinas that have expensive boats.
So what does the sheriff talk? What does the sheriff say about it?
My job is try to get the boathouse built.
I know that. Maybe,
I don't think the sheriff would be
We're-
happy
we're-
with it.
we're trying to figure out
Yeah.
some alternatives and, like, and everybody say, well, we can just park it here, for a nominal fee or whatever.
Well, let's go forward with the Berlin.
We'll look at Berlin.
We'll see.
That's a disaster.
Department operations.
Y'all got my project list. I haven't gotten the new projects in for this year yet. We talked about the 980. The building assessment, the contract are going out. So, as soon as they get this contract signed and back to us, we'll get it executed and we'll start doing the condition assessment. Some of these are going to be kind of deferred until we get some of the condition assessments done. The county historical marker. We gave them a position, place over by a garden area by Parkview, where my concerns are where they want to put it on Highway Y is there's no real parking there. There are 2 parallel easements from the city for water and sewer that they don't want me to put the marker there. It's according to the Historical Society, the ideal place to put it, but it's not an ideal place for us, a practical place for us to put it. I've gone back to them and said, no, the place that we want to put it is over here by Parkview, where it's ADA accessible. And the residents from Parkview can go and look at the sign and, see about it. I have not heard back from Randy Dorn.
Could we have signs out on County Y? And
Oh, yeah, I thought
Let's say historical marker here. go
I've
right in
talked
here.
to Bob Daniel, we can get them up there.
Yeah,
Um,
that would seem to me to be, because the parking is there and everything,
and there's plenty of parking there that's
Yeah.
not really in the flow of traffic.
right?
So, if people want to look at it on where they want it on Y, they have to go and park in the Coughlin parking lot, and then there's no sidewalk there. So they have to walk down the driveways, get out onto Butler Avenue, walk up by Butler Avenue. And then
Yeah, that's not. safe.
really to make it
There.
proper, we'd have to put like a concrete walkway there to it so that people could, go and look at it. And it's a far walk or push on a wheelchair. from Parkview for the people to see it. So
It's in their hands right now. It's in
Well,
their hands to, this is.
the sign's in our hands and we're just gonna go and put it up.
Yeah, right, so. We've had a lot of time with
Yeah.
this. And that takes care of
It's
it.
do it, right? Take it off your list, enjoy it.
Yeah,
So, we,
yeah. It's easier to ask for forgiveness.
Plant the thing and put the signs up.
yeah,
Forever.
It's going to be out tomorrow or something.
yeah.
That's my own personal.
So we've got some other projects. Our plumbing projects have been deferred until we can get a new plumber. Our plumber retired in the month of February. We've had 2 individuals interested. The one individual ended up taking, he was at Winnebago. Was interested in us, but he took a job over at the prison. So we lost that individual. The second individual hasn't gotten back to us. So we're figuring he's not interested. I don't know where the plumber's pay will sit now that the comp plan has been approved. So that may affect our advertising and we might be able to get somebody there.
Sure.
So right now, the county doesn't have a plumber, so there are certain functions that we need to have a licensed master plumber do. So we are contracting out our work until we can get somebody hired on board
Sure.
to do it.
Have to do it.
I've got so much going on. We're still working on the USDA lease. We've met with the architect to get their changes incorporated. They're working on what their thoughts, their opinion of probable costs are. And then we'll have to go back out for bid again. But before I do that, I'm gonna send it to the USDA and say, this is what our thoughts are on this cost. I'm gonna have to go out for bid on it again. And it's probably going to be more than what you guys have already authorized me to spend. So I'm gonna have to come back before the county board for additional funding for it.
But that, just like you said, that income can be.
Yes, it's a 3-year firm lease, and the way I'm working up the lease terms is that we will recoup our construction costs and our cost
That's
for the
what I thought.
modifications in the first 3
Exactly.
years.
Right.
They're accepting that.
I don't know yet, because I don't have the estimate back from the
Okay.
architect
You amortize that into the lease rate? Is that how you
Yes.
do it? Yeah.
over 3 years. And then after 3 years, if they still lease it, it should drop down to a lesser cost.
Sure.
For the lease.
Thank you.
Like I said, we've got all the capital projects that you guys approved that we gotta get on our schedule and start getting going. So like the highway shop, I talked to Bob Dable about that yesterday. We're gonna try and get the architect on board to start doing that. The sheriff's evidence garage, we're at about 95%. I've got to talk to the sheriff and his staff. The size of the parking lot that they want is going to be costly. So I need to just verify that that is really what they want. So that we can get that taken care of.
On that shop out there for the highway, I don't know if you were listening at that time or not. Will you guys be having built into that, bigger thing to wash the trucks and that with?
That is the project that got approved in the capital project is just the general office to get rid of the mold.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna come back with a different project to provide additional parking and a wash rack. And reconfigure the shop area for the highway shop, but we wanted to expedite the mold remediation. The rest of it, UWO. We're still working on the fume hoods. They found one other thing now that's not working right. So they're gonna get that fixed. And I'm still of the opinion that up until 2015, they were tested twice a month or twice a year, and they worked. I'm not so sure that the lack of maintenance isn't a cause of their problems. And I know when I was in chemistry class, the glass door on the fume hoods you didn't leave them wide open. You left them open enough that your hands could work underneath them. And that's what the problem that they're coming up with is they want to have the airflow through the hoods meet the requirements with the doors wide open. And, both Paul and I are saying, we can close it down like a minimal amount and it's going to have the right flow. But realistically, I believe part of the safety features of having the fume hoods and working with the chemicals was that the that's why they have glass doors. You have them down to about that far off the deck and your hands are working in there and doing what you have. And it provides some protection for your face and your eyes if something should react adversely.
You open it all the way, the air can come in and go right back down in that opening.
Yeah.
Heat rises and it's gonna come in and go right back down and or get back into place, but if it's down low to begin with.
So
Sorry.
that's a never ending saga. But I still would not feel comfortable telling you that we got to spend $500,000 to get new fume hoods without knowing that they weren't operating properly.
Whether we need that many.
Yeah.
Regain safety equipment alongside the vent hoods.
Well, I'm sure all the kids are supposed to wear their goggles or face masks.
Gas mask.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll get them to do that.
It'd be nice, but. No.
So, and
Forgive me for saying that.
we've got the water heater model.
Your poll has been recorded.
That's all right, I'm a trustee. I can say that.
We've got the water heater project at Parkview, and that came in over budget also. Let's see if I've got it. I don't have my notes here. That one, I forget how many people we sent it out to. I think that was over 200. We sent it out to 121 people, and we got 4 contractors to take out the bid, and we got 1 that submitted us to bid. And that came in over budget. So Parkview is going through the process of getting the additional funds for it. I didn't bring it, I'm not having to bring it forward before you guys because you guys already authorized the project. The money's coming out of their Parkview fund. So, I just want to bring you up to speed that, here's another one. We broadcast it out to 121.
So they are gonna do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That should be before the P&F committee in April, and the county board in April.
So technically, you only got one bid.
Not technically, we actually only got 1 bid.
Yeah, that's
But I had four good mechanical contractors pull it. I've worked with a number of them, and only one that I haven't worked with submitted a bid. So, well, maybe we did work with Kirkland. They might have done some of the work on the original jail build. But
Is this a reputable company?
yeah. It's just coming down to, I don't know what's happening out there where, nobody's pulling bids. And it's not anything that we haven't changed our process in the 25 years I've been here. It's not like we put any more onerous requirements on them. I don't know if it's just that these people don't have the staffing, that they look at the job, or what, but we're not getting.
They may want jobs right now.
They could want jobs like
Right,
right
start
now,
next week, yes.
or
Not that way.
or they just, I don't know, but I don't have an answer for you guys. you know, when we're sending it out to hundreds of people and only 4 people pull the bid. So. And our budget, we're looking okay with the budget so far. I do know, we do have with our staffing, we have 1 new custodial staff starting. We interviewed another one yesterday, who is actually a high school student who wants to come to work for us after he graduates in May or June. So, you know, it looks like we'll be able to get him on board. And that will bring us closer.
Yeah.
And with the compensation study passed, that affected the pay rate for our superintendent position. So I've got some candidates for the superintendent position, but with the higher starting salary, we may get some more people. A couple of the people that I was interested in, you know, their last income was over mine. So, you know, I doubt that they would have taken the job.
Sure.
So that's what we've done in the last month.
They have to be 18 here to work for you, correct? Even like summer help?
Summer help will go down to 16 now.
You do.
Yeah.
I thought so, but they said no, they contacted the county, but you had to be 18, so.
No, we've looked at it there. They've changed some of the laws where 16-year-olds were restricted on what they could do. But they can drive lawnmowers and they can operate weed whackers. I don't know that they can operate like circular saws or some of the other power tools, but for what we're looking for summer help, they can do that.
That's exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to do like lawn mowing. They wanted to be outside
Yeah, sure.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, so.
We'll
And
just have them contact him now.
you know,
We
we
told them to, but the mother said that they told her that they had to be 18 and I didn't think so.
recently,
Yeah, just here this last week. Who she talked to, I guess.
yeah, I don't know, but yeah, we've cleared it with HR that we can hire kids down to 16.
Yeah.
So, and I know I reached out to HR, I reached out to my alma mater and talked to their career services. They have now gotten our information for positions that are open, not just for seasonals, because as you know, hey, you know, my son went to school in Florida, but he came home and he worked at the airport.
Sure.
There's other kids around here that probably do that. So I talked to Marquette. They've got our information, not just for our seasonals, but hopefully for like nurses, CNAs, all the rest of those kind of positions. And maybe they'll do it. I know we've talked to the UW system schools and we haven't gotten much luck with people actually looking at their career site for jobs. So when we do have UW students come in for interviews, we ask them, you know, where did you find out about this? And they usually say, well, my dad works at Highway. And they haven't looked at the online stuff that they have at UWO or Green Bay or Madison.
It's interesting.
So,
Okay.
okay,
All
that's
right, thank you.
my report.
Okay, suggestions for items for next meeting agenda,
All the way through from what,
4 to 10.
yeah.
Okay. That's what my notes for.
You should have more information on the shelter.
Yeah.
Yeah, something else.
All project, but,
Next meeting I have down April 26th. Like, fourth Wednesday.
April 26th, let me put that in.
Okay.
Maybe if we really feel like the 980s that we feel as though it should keep on going, maybe we should invite on executive to be here.
Yeah, so, yeah, correct. That's what I asked. I asked if we could. So who would have to do that? Would you have to? do
I
it?
will pass on the opinion from the committee that we should probably go forward with asking for the more money.
Maybe more comfortable.
I would be,
I mean,
also,
ask them to come. too.
And then ask him to come.
Yeah, thank you.
This is just such a unique project that. It's so hard.
so you got April the 26th,
That's what I showed. It's the fourth one.
later before Wednesday.
Really, again, I mean, if you rent even half of them.
You know, and I did talk to our contractor, because I know Oshkosh is doing a tiny home project. On, I think off of Snell or something.
Mhm.
And they're getting buildings significantly cheaper, but it goes back to. That's like a private enterprise, that's doing a private organization doing it, we're a public works. So, and they're also like, they went out and contracted with the Amish to build them, I guess, at their location.
Are they nonprofit?
Well, they're not,
I'm just trying to take it.
No, the,
it's a nonprofit doing it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it's like, I don't know if the Amish. What they do for wages, what they do for,
Well, you pay them, believe me, you pay them.
I know you do.
oh, yeah.
But I don't know what they do for workman's comp and all the rest of the things that when we have to do a public works project. The contractors have to comply with. So, because I asked, Capel, or, RJM, Ryan Messerschmidt, you know, how can they do that? Because basically, we're talking about a 600 square foot tiny home.
Right.
How can they do it so much cheaper than what we're doing here? And his thoughts were basically the same as mine, is that I have the public works requirements that we have to go through. And a private nonprofit or not private organization doesn't have to do everything that we do. And I don't know how much stuff they might be getting donated.
It's true, yeah.
You know, I don't know the whole process and how they got their costs.
Might not hurt, talk with the Amish, though, I mean, they can get a group here together and they can put them up. In the big building.
Yeah, that's true. You've heard about that.
Yeah, do everything from houses to barns to.
But the problem that I have is, I can't just bring them here, they have to submit a bid.
Yeah.
So,
Can they still submit bids or is it too late?
well, it's too late. You know, and once again, you know, like I said, you know, how many. You know, we sent it out to 531 people, and I don't know how. You know, I see the names, and there's just like tons of construction. You know, small construction firms that got it. I don't know whether they're Amish, I don't know anything about them other than just their name and they're in Wisconsin. Some even, I think they even went down to Illinois. And.
Not if it's a Yoder or anything like that.
Well, you know, it's like, you know, they have the initials in front of like, you know, ABC Construction. I don't know if it's Yoder or, some of the other German names. Don't know. So,
I make them all for your.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Those same sign. Thank you. When is Andy's due back?
I think this weekend.
Is it? Okay, yeah. This year.